Apparently, the Biden administration is very upset. And the good part about it is that good, double down, make them crazy, drive them nuts, and have their answer prepared. Let me tell you what I'm trying to say. By the way, welcome everybody. This is what you have to say. This is what somebody's got. This is the message they've got to get to these drools over here, these GOP. You have to take their response. You know what it is? Karine Jean-Pierre said it today. The GOP themselves, they even said there's no evidence. Who said that? That's number one. So write that down. Number two, there's no evidence whatsoever. Are you kidding me? No evidence. There's loads of evidence. What do you want? You've got the main person. You've got a co-defendant testimony saying it's for the big guy. You've got co-defendant testimony saying, I'm sitting right here with a guy and I'm going to forget you. You've got a person. I mean, are you serious? So everybody has to go on every TV show because this will drive them crazy. And you get all the Republicans in the morning and you meet with them in the rotunda, wherever Republicans are left or wherever. And you say, here's our story. Number one, overwhelming evidence. And more importantly, you say to everybody, they're going to tell you that there is no evidence. What are you talking about? There's plenty of evidence. They're all telling you. Everybody's got to go before the camera and say, Karine Jean-Pierre, they have memorized the following script. Hold it up. Everybody should say, here's their script. And they should just point to it like this. Mock them. So that the next time you hear them say this, you'll say, oh my God, it's true. The Republicans have to really push this thing hard and explain. Don't say things like influence peddling. Say things like bribery, felonies. Go for the throat. But tell the people why this means something. Don't just come out and don't just say the usual stuff. Just, it's like, how do I say this? It's like these folks who do these, this New Mexico, this Governor Grisham stuff, this business. This kills me the way they do this. They have this story and they expect you and everybody to understand that I guess that somehow, how do I say this? I guess they expect you to understand that there's this big Second Amendment issue here and that the case of the people don't understand that. I'm mixing the two, but I'm trying to give you an idea. Republicans don't know how to sell it. They talk to each other like the world is Larry Kudlow. The world is not Larry Kudlow. You have to explain to people. This is why I should give a damn about Governor Grisham and where and a carry permit. What? But to the right, oh my God, yes, it's important. I agree. I'm with you, but you've got to explain it. If you don't explain it to them, what do you want? Am I making sense? Of course you understand. Everybody should they should go to Kinko's, have professionally assigned and just say, the Democrats should just point to this because they're all saying the same thing. They're all trained. They're like trained little dancing bears or something. They all say this same stuff. And then when they say it, they won't know. Karine Jean-Pierre won't know what to say because you've taken her script. I heard this today. After hearing 2, maybe 3 Democrats, I knew exactly what it was. They're scared. And then this guy, Sams, picks up, sends a letter to people, say, you better watch out. You better be careful. Are they threatening you? You've got the office. You've got the White House threatening news agencies. Whoa. Wait a minute. Hold it. The Republicans have to fight back. They've got to tell people what this means. This is something I can't explain. This is called just being, this is called knowing how to do this, knowing how to explain this. They talk among themselves. I've never seen anything like it. They talk just to each other. And they do these things. I want you to help me with this. Joy Behar and whoever these people are on The View, they are not the Democratic Party. Now you can point that out and say, what's this term? Keith Olbermann is what is called in the business a dick. Okay, that's the term. That's the correct. He's a dick, or as we would say, a deek when we were in high school. Or the worst is a and he decides that he's going to tweet something that says Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles heel or tendon because he wasn't vaccinated, or some stupid thing that, okay. I know this doesn't matter to you. Maybe you just like to, not you, but maybe they just like to hate people. Maybe that they just hate Keith Olbermann and that's it. But that's not news. That's not news. Keith Olbermann says, I knew they'd pick up on that. I'm in the offing. There I go. Because it's about numbers and metrics. And they fall for this every time. Joy Behar, I saw this. Joy Behar said, with this Anna Navato, whatever her name is. She says, I'm an immigrant too. Not an immigrant. During the Mariel boat lift, they actually, you could argue, were they an illegal immigrant? Remember the wet foot, dry foot, all this stuff? And she said, and I know what that's like, because when we came into Miami, in the 80s, she was a Marielita from the Mariel boat lift. And but you've got to put people someplace. You can't have people just in one place like this. And Joy Behar says, I know. And then you can't put people everywhere because of climate change. Now, here's the story. I would say, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this is a dumbass statement. Why are we on Fox and Breitbart always giving free advertising to the people that we supposedly hate? Ignore Keith Olbermann unless people say, no, you don't understand. News today is about trolls. News today is about hating people. News today is about hating these folks. It's not about news or information, that sort of thing. This is why I can't stand it. I can't stand any of this stuff. It's horrible, okay? Remember what I'm telling you. Remember this right now. We have the opportunity, dear friends, to win. And you and I can talk all day long. We can have the best show. You and I can say, and we're going to win. And we're going to do great. And Trump is going to do great. That means nothing if it doesn't happen. Did you hear this morning when I gave you the story about the story involving the Gettys and the Newsoms and the Pelosi's and the Browns? Did you hear that? I hope tell me you heard this. Tell me you heard this. We have something which was so interesting and so fascinating. So fascinating. Watch what happens. This is a group. The Gettys and their adopted son is Gavin Newsom. The money. Watch how this thing plays. Who is in charge? Where is Ronna McDaniel? How does this work? Where is this working? I'm telling you something. And I think and I know, and But these issues are very interesting. If I can't convince the jury, the citizens about how important this is, I'm wasting my time. If I can get people to be so angry at uh, Biden to make them think like this guy is the worst thing I've ever seen, if I can't do that, if I can't convey to people the horror of this, I'm wasting my time. We're wasting our time. That's the bottom line. And we can just talk about, oh, we're doing so great. No, we're not doing great. No. See, this is what these other shows do that just drive me nuts. They're pep rallies. And that's nice, but I don't want a pep rally. That's not what we're trying to do. That's not it. I've been through this. Do you want to go through 2020 again? Who wants to go through this again? You want to go, you want to see this? And what people are also understand, and nobody wants to say this, nobody wants to discuss it, nobody wants to ever even touch it. I don't care what you say. I don't care what anybody does regarding carry permits or whatever. If we don't secure the votes, they're going to steal this again legally. Do you hear what's going on? Legally. So what do you suggest we do? What do you want to do? Tell me. What would be, how do we get this across? I'm going to also say something to you, and I know that this is not what you want to hear, but you're going to hear it from me. The average voter, the average undecided, has no clue or concern about carry permits anywhere. They're doing it. They're talking about abolishing the 20. They're coming after it again. More stuff in California. Can you think of a way to make people? Do you think this is going to say, "Oh, I'm going to vote. I'm going to vote Republican now"? Hell, most people would say that's great. People hate guns. Have you heard this? You may not believe this, but people hate guns. Hate them. Do you hear what I'm saying? Hate guns. I don't know how to say this any other way. This is an issue that we're going to die on. It's important to us in the primaries, but not later on, not in the general. I would much rather, I swear to God, if I could go out there and just argue the left, I would have such an easy time. It's so easy. Oh my God. I used to feel the same way about the death penalty. It's the easiest thing in the world. These savages who killed these poor kids. Next story. You know that guy they arrested today, that escapee? And they were upset because they unleashed this dog on him. They called the dog a hero. The dog is not a hero. The dog licks his balls, for God's sake. That's not a hero. A hero is somebody who knows what he's doing. A dog doesn't understand fear. A dog says, yeah, that's my prey. Hey, I'm going to get that guy. This is what I do, right? Yeah, I'm going to do this. I like this. I'm not afraid. I don't know this guy's an escapee. I don't even know what that means. I'm a dog. And you know why dogs lick their balls, right? Because they can't make a little fist with their hand. You've heard that terrible joke. It's a terrible joke. Please forgive me, but it's true. A dog does not have the ability to formulate the idea of, I'm putting my life on duty. I don't have to do this. I love my human master. No, I'm going to want to do it. I'm going to do it. No, that's not a hero. Don't. You use heroes for everything. They actually had this Daily Mail or something. It's not a hero. It's not a hero. It doesn't matter. I don't get it. So anyway, they got this guy, and that's terrific. And they said, "Oh, you can't believe it. It's amazing the DNA. We can find this." What about the fact that we ever get to the bottom of whose cocaine that was in the White House? And the White House with 38 cameras, plastic fingerprints, perfect for fingerprints. DNA, nothing. Ever find out who stole the Dobbs memo? Nothing. Anybody following up on that? No. But we're talking about Keith Olbermann making a nasty tweet about Aaron, whatever. I mean, I don't get it. And we're talking about guns. I love my guns. Great. That's important. Now tell me, how does that matter? Why does that matter to voters? During the Civil Rights Act, how do you think they won? By telling people not everybody wanted the Civil Rights Act. Not everybody wanted this. Not everybody wanted any of this. Not everybody wanted this. A lot of people are saying, you know what, I don't know if I want the civil rights. How do you that Dr. King, these people scare me. No, we want you to vote for this. I don't know if I want to vote for that. So you got to go and explain this to people. You always have to explain. But what the Republicans do is they say, I don't really care about this. Because I'm right. It means something to me. Screw you. If you don't understand the guns thing, I don't really give a damn because I'm right, you're wrong, and that's it. We're going to win. And Trump's great, and that's the No. We have to explain this to people. And it's a tough one. It's so difficult sometimes. People say, I hate guns. All these people are killed by guns. It's not the gun. Well, then what was it? What shot him? The guy shot him. What are you going to do with a sexual battery suspect? You're going to give him a penectomy? You're going to cut off his schwanz? If that's your idea, so I'm going to go after the gun to stop murder. Well, to stop rape, I go after genitals. Do you apply that thinking? No. And not only that, how do you think you're going to, do you think guns are going to not be here? Do you think you can say, well, we're going to pass a law against them? There's a law against murder. They're not following the murder statute. And you think they're going to give a damn about the gun law? What are you talking about? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. None of it. It's never made. But it's easy to argue. It's easy to argue. We've got to do something to stop these guns. These guns. Next, what do you want to do about climate change? Here's my thing. Climate means the weather. Look up basically the definition of what the climate means. Climate is like temperate. What's the climate? Is it warm? Is it cold? That's the climate. Two words I like that we used to use: ecology and conservation and nature. And you see what I'm saying? That's a different story. Now, here's the question I have. Remember in the old days, I remember this, the green peace sign. It was the green peace sign for ecology. It was wonderful. It was just, it was really, really good. And it was this little sign that how do I say this? It was a peace sign, but it was green. And it was great. And it was wonderful. And the thing I loved about it the most was that there was this, we loved it. We called it the environment. And then we called it ecology. And now it's climate. So what I would do is I would say, we're going to not use the word climate. It's not climate. I don't care about the climate. I'm not going to change the climate. I'm worried about the environment. That's everything. I'm worried about the fact that there's no bees. Not because it's too hot or too cold, but because maybe glyphosate's killing them. Maybe some other reason. That's what I want to do. I'm worried about the bees. I'm worried about the water. I'm worried about, and by the way, one of the biggest, most overdone story, which you'll find out very soon, is this idea of plastics. Remember that one? It's the biggest joke in the world. Plastics. These people love to make you change their rules. But here's the thing. Ask anybody. Ask the Larry Kudlow Republican. What do you think about climate? It's crazy. What are you going to say to the undecided voter about climate? I'm not going to say anything because it's a bunch of crap. Climate change. I don't believe in it. Really? Okay. You're not going to be on my re-election team. Get out. I want to have my guy be able to say something. What is Trump going to say about? Not give in, not scare his own people, but what does he say about climate change? What does he say about? Let me ask you fine people a question. Number one, do you think that man has an effect, not on weather, but on the environment? Yes or no? Do you think mankind has the effect on rivers, seas? Do you think the air, the quality of the air, smog? Where do you think smog came from? Did you ever see the smog in China? The smog in Los Angeles? Where did that come from? Was that, did I miss it? Did I? Do you think, ladies and gentlemen, his name is Bull Trader Lionel, off topic. You forgot about the anthrax scare one day after 9/11. Look here, not there. Yes, remember that. What was his name? The Hatfield or something? Was that it? Was that it? Dr. Hatfield? Thank you, Bull Trader. Oh, we've got more. How about when, who was it? When Norman Mineta said, Mr. President Cheney, the plane's coming in. What do we do? Stay in the car. No, there's a plane coming in. Remember that one? Don't get me started. But let me go back to this. And Bull Trader, thank you. Do you think that it's a good idea to maybe do something about working on exhaust? Do you think it's a good idea? I do. Do you think if we put less exhaust out, not that it's going to ruin the world or change the climate or melt the polar ice caps, I'm not suggesting that, but do you think that's it? I think that's a good idea. Go ahead, put that down. So President Trump can say, I believe in working on the environment and join me in the environment, and have these people say, man, he keeps saying environment. You mean climate? No, I mean the environment. I mean the ecology. I mean waters. I mean the air. And the first thing we do is we're going to find out, what are they spraying? You with me? Anybody with me on that? Oh, that's a conspiracy theory. Excuse me, look up. What do you want? Well, I want to do something about the climate. And what do we do? Well, you want the Kyoto protocols again? You want that one? What about the Hipsy thermals? What the hell is that? What about the Holocene maxima? There were times in this country, in the world, in the planet, where it was like 10,000 years where it was hotter than ever. That's why the UK is there. How do you want me to fix environment? Don't get into that, but they'll never tell you. If you stop carbon spewing chemical petroleum, it will change, and the ice caps will come back, and the penguins will be happy. They don't tell you that. Tell me, what do you want? I want you to get rid of all the cars, because if you get all the cars, then the polar bears will be happy. Okay, fine. What about China? Can't do anything about China. What about India? Can't do anything about China. I don't know about that. Can't help with that one. How can you tell me what exactly does mankind do to make this happen? I don't know what mankind does. I don't understand this. I'm a trained barking seal. Arr, arr, arr. I don't know. I talk about climate change. I don't know anything about the goddamn climate change. I just say it. Ladies and gentlemen, please, let's all stand and give a big round of applause to R. Heath, who says they do everything to scare us into submission. Climate, UFOs. So we don't actually do anything about pollution or the environment. Everyone needs to be ready for the biggest distraction yet. When the economy crashes, it's going to be Marburg. Wow. R. Heath, Ramona, thank you, Ramona. You are very kind. You are very, 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 very. The Marburg virus, the hemorrhagic fevers. Thank you for that. You're very kind. I'm serious. You're very kind. Remember years ago, let's talk about scares. Let's talk about this. See, this is one of the reasons why, when I talk about this, and I'm saying, what exactly can you do? First thing you should do is you should have some form of cash handy, hidden away. You can hide cash, number one. Number two, you should have some kind of ammunition, only if you really know what you're doing, and a weapon and the like. Please, you should do that. Very, very important that you do that. Next, you should have a generator. That's the thing I think is that is so critical to have a generator. You got to have one. You got to have water. I would have water. And maybe, by the way, my Patriot Supplies got great gravity, these filters. And then the food part. This isn't a joke. This isn't a joke. I'm serious. I'm telling you. Prepping, they always make it out to be, hey, we're going like some Grizzly Adams guy. I don't know what this is about. But while we're talking about it, preparewithlionel.com. That's the link, preparewithlionel.com. There's the link there. $200 off a 3-month emergency food kit. You've got to do this, and you got to start buying. You got to start buying on a regular basis. It's one of these things where you, how do I say this? You kind of build up, Ramona. You build stuff up. But let's talk about other things. What would be your fear? What would you want people to be? What would your fear be? Meaning, give an example. When you hear, check out our mayor, dear God, our mayor, Eric Adams, when he's crying, we're dying, we're falling apart, we're dying. Like, oh my God, this is not exactly the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. This guy's screaming and yelling like a banshee. He's going nuts. Did you hear this? I've never seen anything like this in my life. Oh, Jesus. Eric, that's not the way. You're scaring the hell out of people. What are you doing? Oh my God, I don't know. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. But what would you be? What would you be, Ramona? What would you be? What would you be? I want to be my favorite. I want to be a disease. I want to be something that's communicable. COVID is nothing. That's just nothing. It's a coronavirus, and that's boring. Boring. I want to be an AIDS type of. That's what I mean. AIDS. AIDS is the. If I had to be a disease, that's the one I'd be. Cancer is boring. Cancer is because you can cut it out. You can blast it already, depending upon where it is. Glioblastoma is very bad, very, very bad. Pancreatic, of course, bad. But others are just a lot of people. Let me tell you something. Good news. There are more people walking around right now with breast cancer who never would have been around there. It's not the death sentence necessarily. Same thing goes for prostate cancer. The same thing goes for a lot of stuff. Also, our good friend is Ramona says, also medication you depend on. Oh, Ramona, you're so right about that. As you get older, and this is important. One of the things which is important is, do you have a lot of medications? My parents used to have on their kitchen table this basket of pills. I mean, they had more pills. I said, what is this? Do you need this? Anyway? But if they don't have those pills, oh my God. Oh, and older people freak out when something is not in their realm, so to speak. They freak out. I want to talk to you about this. If something happens and you're going to stay home, the first thing you're going to want to do is to protect your home. And ladies and gentlemen, I've got to tell you something. The greatest thing in the world that you can ever have. I've heard this from burglars, people that I've prosecuted, people that I've represented. The thing that scared a burglar, absolutely, positively, 100%, there are no professional burglars, is a dog. Not just a dog that's a big dog, but a dog that's a pain in the ass dog that makes a lot of noise. They can't stand dogs. And anything like they don't like that either. That's very, very important. Dogs are wonderful. Dogs are great. Dogs are territorial. They're wonderful during moments of horror. They're wonderful. They're so terrific. That's number one. Second of all, I want you to think about this. What are you going to do if somebody wants to come into your home? The prisoners, the criminals that we are seeing today are so brash, so boorish, so out of control, what are you going to do? Now, number one, let me give you this. If you shoot them, you will be sued. They will go after your homeowner's policy. It is going to be the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard. Excuse me, he broke in. He's suing you. What? He's suing you. Suing me? He made a mistake. He didn't know. You acted unreasonably. They want to settle for your policy, your homeowners, or whatever. I'm not going to settle it. Okay. What do? Do you wait till someone comes in? What do you do? What do you do? Your kid says, Mommy, Daddy, what? Who are those men? And you're in your home by yourself. And you've got your My Patriot supplies. You got your food. You're ready to go. You're enjoying a beautiful, toothsome viands and victuals sitting there. And all of a sudden, you've got power lines out. It's pretty rough. Like leaves in the, when there's a hurricane, that kind of, this looks bad. And all of a sudden you see these people out there and they don't look like they're nice people. They don't look like they're there to lend a hand. And they say, Mommy, Daddy, they're coming up the driveway. Who are these people? Why would 4 men wearing, of course, masks, because everybody wears a mask, and hoodies, gotta have the hoodie, because everybody loves a hoodie today. And you're thinking, uh-oh, now your heart's pounding. Go in there, kids. What do? You've got to go through this in your head. What do you do? What do you have? What do you say? What can you say? When are you assaulting someone with a deadly weapon? When are you threatening to shoot somebody? What do you mean threatening to shoot somebody? They're scared. No. They're coming up to the door. They're looking for help. They need directions. They don't mean any harm. And you're threatening, you gotta wear, I'll blow your head up. Excuse me. Did you just threaten me? What did I do? What did I do to warrant that? There's 4 of you and you're scaring me. And you've got hoodies on and a mask. It's COVID and we're cold. What are you yelling? You're going to shoot me. Well, what do you say? Can I help you? And all of a sudden you see 4, but then you see 1. Now they're somewhere around. What do you do? Have you thought about this? What are you going to do? And then when you turn around and they're in your home, he's inside there he is in the dining room. The guy out there, one of them, now he's inside. Is he threatening you? No, he's inside. He's just standing there. What do you do? What are you going to do? Shoot him? No, I'm serious. Damn right, better shoot. Really? Can you do this? Do you say anything? What kind of weapon do you have? You have a pistol or a shotgun? You got a pistol. You don't have a shotgun. Nobody has a shotgun. Shotguns are good. Shotguns are great. They don't leave. The round doesn't go through the window and hit some poor kid down the street. They're very good, very centered. You don't have to be a good shot. They make a lot of noise. That rack, that Mossberg. I love that sound. Oh, it's a wonderful sound. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Shoot them? You ever thought about this? What do you tell them? Get away, get out. Usually, I'll give you 1 minute. Have you thought about this? No, you haven't. Because all you've thought about was, I went to the range, I shot it a couple of times, and I never had any kind of scenarios about what I do, what I don't do. This is serious business. This is huge. And I know this. I sat down one time and I said, oh, Barry Taylor. Thank you, Barry. Thank you, Barry, for a super sticker. Bless your heart. Barry, you're a good man, Barry. Good man. What exactly do you do? I wish I could teach classes in this one because we'd go through this and you would realize, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I never thought about this before. I one time I had a friend of mine, and somebody said, show him your gun. And she showed me, and she said, okay. I said, where are we going? I said, first of all, don't show me your gun. I don't want to see your gun. Don't do this. This isn't a toy. This isn't show me your guitar. But it was more of a question because she had a question about whatever it was. It looked almost like an H&K. I don't know. I said, this, you didn't buy this. Somebody gave it. Well, it's my father. It looked almost like a Luger. I mean, it was weird. I said, have you ever shot this? No. I said, you know how to take the magazine out? No. Is it loaded? I don't know. I said, well, what are you doing with this? And she had it next to the bed. It's like, oh, no. It's the first thing they look. So it turns out it wasn't loaded because, opened it up. I said, there's nothing in here. The magazine, here's the button. The thing came out. I said, there's nothing in here. It's empty. I said, now, if you pull this on to somebody and they think you're threatening them, even though you were in a house, now they shoot you. Now you just escalated this thing. Are you ready for this? Have you thought about this? No. Well, what are you going to do? How many times do you shoot? What? How many times? Oh, once? No, you shoot until he's down. You shoot until you kill him. What? Till I don't want to kill him. Well, what do you got a gun for? I don't even know. That's how most people are. I'm telling you, they've never thought about this. Do you ready to do this? Center of mass, boom, like this, boom, 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 and then sometimes they don't go down because of the adrenaline or the drugs or whatever. I mean, I just don't. What do you do? What do you do? That's why nobody ever thinks about this. They never think about bad stuff happening. They never think about what happens if the police, if you have seconds to act and the police are not going to be there. Listen, God bless the police. We know this, right? The police are wonderful people. They're great people. They're terrific people. But they investigate your victimization. They put the chalk line when you're dead. They're not going to protect you from anything. They're not going to protect you. And people who are up, whenever you're somewhere, you're driving around like at upstate New York or Jersey or Connecticut, and you see these little farmhouses, don't even bother. They've got a sign that you can almost read. It says, we got guns in here. Why? Look at where we are. You know this. That house is not going to be burglarized. I promise you. Between the dogs and the gun. No. You see, people like this, for the most part, are pretty rational. People are rational when it comes to committing crimes. They're kind of sort of good at it. And especially when they've done it one time, then they do it again and again and again. What do we do when there's a complete and total breakdown? How many want to join my militia? I want to have militias. Barry Taylor says, hang on a second. Here's, we got our good friend Barry Taylor. Where's Barry Taylor? Hang on. There we go. Barry Taylor says, our laws aren't laws at all if they don't apply to everyone. The rule of law, yes? Question mark. No, the laws aren't laws. They apply to everyone. They're not applied to everyone equally, but they do apply. The law is like a weird. How about this? You're in a state that has a minimum mandatory to use a firearm. We used to have, if somebody uses like ag assault or something, like for example, you threaten somebody with a deadly weapon or a firearm. If it's a firearm, it's a 3-year minimum mandatory. Why? Because there's a firearm involved. Why did you do this? And then there's sometimes, you can waive that. Nobody's ever thought about this. Nobody's ever even thought about this before. I firmly believe in the notion of the militia. I firmly believe that you should be able to say that in our community, I swear to you, I swear to God, I would go to everybody I knew and say, I want to meet you. Just go, whatever the perimeter is, I want to meet. If you leave something in there, let us meet. Let's have a little party. And here's what we're going to do. We all know that if ever there's a problem, we know everybody's number, right? Everybody got a number? You got that? They don't know numbers. You don't even know neighbors today. If I see, oh, what is your name? I don't even know his name. That's Ramona. That's Barry Taylor. That's his house. Here's his number. I know where to reach. You might want to also say, and we might also one time, if ever you need something, you call us. Don't call the police. Call us. There's got to be some way to do this. People have to take the law into their own hands because it's their law. You don't have to ask permission from the police to protect yourself. Let me say this again to you. You don't have to ask permission of the police. You know what I've been doing today? I enjoyed very much, aside from trying to prevent from committing a homicide on my own life. I've been watching old Milton Friedman. Milton Friedman is just wonderful. He is Milton Friedman just tear William F. Buckley a new one. Let me ask a question. Do any of you, dear friends, do you believe that, I'm changing the subject a little bit. Do you believe that education should be mandatory? Do you think there should be mandatory education? Do you think there should be mandatory education? Yes or no? Doesn't that sound good? Yes or no? Should there be mandatory education? Yes or no? And I was watching this and yes. He was like, yes. Liz says yes. Okay. Milton Friedman said no. Mandatory? The government tells you you have to go to school? Wait a minute. You have to go to school? And what was interesting was it made me think, I never really thought about this. Why is there mandatory school? Why? You want some education department? I mean, remember, there are some things that are good. Some people go to school. See, in my system, my system, you don't understand something. In my world, in my utopian world, we have this thing where we start off with the most minimum of. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had plain pasta? Yes or no? Macaroni, pasta. Plate of pasta. Just nothing on it. Just a plate. And you think, you know what? It's kind of sticky. It's good, but I kind of need something. Okay. We're going to use as few things as possible. What would you like to put on it? Well, I got a little marinara. That's okay. You might want to put a little olive oil. It's up to you. You might want to put a little olive oil and garlic. Okay. What about you? A little pesto? Okay. Whatever. That's it. But just a little bit. For two things. It kind of lubes up this thing, and then it tastes good. Stop. Want to put some mushrooms? Stop it. That's enough. You're going to ruin it. It's like pizza. Too much stuff. Okay. We start off like that. It's us. Every time we add something to the government, it's like adding something to this pasta. You sure you want this? Yes. In my world, I want to pick up garbage. Everybody for that? Yes. Got to have that because people aren't going to pick it up. Got to have garbage. Sanitation, number one. Number one. Because that's something that we need to prevent disease and tetanus and typhus and lockjaw and all this other kind of. We need to pick up stuff. Pick up your shite and throw away your crap and pick up your and also flush your toilet and all. That's it. Before we get to anything, we pick up the garbage. You got that? Got to pick up the garbage. This is my world. This is my world. Ramona says mandatory indoctrination. That's exactly what these are. You see what Ramona is saying is that's what it ends up being. It doesn't end up being, it's not about learning how to read and write. It's about teaching you how to, and then we're reading these stories. Do you see these? Who was it who was reading those stories, honey, about the, Senator Kennedy was reading these things? Eduardo Camilo says, glad to see you are being able to monetize your show. Thanks for the awesome insights. Thank you, Eduardo. Oh, yes, we are back. Thank you for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for your kindness. I appreciate that. We always appreciate that. I want you to sit around with your friends and ask what's important to you. Sanitation. Okay? Public libraries, You know who did that? Carnegie. Remember the Carnegie? Or Carnegie, as they call them? Carnegie did that. Our public, I don't care about public library. I'm sorry. That's okay. We'll get to schools in a moment. What about the police? Fire department. Guess when the fire department came along? 1800s, 19th century. You know what the fire department was at first? It was insurance companies, and it was or volunteer. There was no state fire department. Nobody knew what they had the bucket brigade, but there was no real. You didn't call anybody. You put out your own fires until somebody said, I think it'd be a good idea if we have. And the fire department are terrific. Nobody ever, ever, ever hates the fire department. Nobody ever hears a fire department behind you go, oh shit, man, it's a fire department. Pull over him. God, son of a God. They don't do that. It's always like, get out of the way, let them go. They're the only people who run into problems. They run into the danger. So we love firemen. Don't you love firemen? How are you? Look at them. They're right there. Oh, they're wearing, look at that. How are you boys? How are you gals? You go by the house, they're eating. Oh, they're nice. Today we saw, not too far from us, one of the precincts. I saw a bunch of, please forgive me, please, a bunch of women walking around with guns, waddling. Not walking, kind of waddling. And I'm thinking, is there any? I mean, I don't think you have to be, Johnny Weissmuller. I'm dating myself. But this is a policeman? Is there anything intimidating about this? These people are crazy out there. I don't understand. Do they have it? You ever see fat? I mean, maybe you do. Do you ever see fat, bloated, out of shape firemen? Maybe you do, but not really. There's something very about this. But firemen and police, firemen we need. Firemen, sanitation. Now, what about police? I don't know. Here's the kind of police I want. Number one, you show up when bad stuff happens. You've got to get there fast. You're almost quasi-military, but you are on the highest level. You can be removed immediately so fast because we're going to give you a gun and a car and a light, and we're going to watch you. Oh my God. The citizen, that's like, all right. It's like teaching your kid, like, okay, you can cut your sandwich now, but be careful. You're okay. You're in kindergarten now. I'm going to give you a knife, but I don't know about this. Police are great, and most of them are wonderful. I'd say virtually all of them, but those you really have to watch out. Because guess who the police are going to be? You! You're going to be the police. What do the police do? They're great in investigating murders, forensics. They're great whenever there's a big fight. They show up, maybe they break it up, or if there's some kind of but they're not good they don't protect anything. They respond to things. Let me say this again. The police respond. And they do a very good job. We got to empower you. And if you want to empower yourself, either individually or through some kind of a militia, you should be able to do so. The Second Amendment specifically and explicitly provides for that. Tench Cox. Go see his tomb in Philly. The most brilliant statements on the, and I mean this. I don't have to ask anybody for anything. I don't have to ask you for a gun. And this is what the Gruen case is, and also Heller. I don't have to ask you for a gun. I don't have to ask you. And you, whether you're Grisham, whatever it is, that's mine. That goes back from day one. You don't have anything right. Now, let me ask you something. Is there anything, is there any constitutional limitation to the type of gun you have? Yes or no? Come on now, class. Is there any constitutional limitation? Anything whatsoever? You want a shotgun? Okay. What about a machine gun? Is there anything the state can say, now, wait a minute, hold on. Howitzer? Mortar? How about a grenade? Now, wait a minute, hold on. Come on, it says arms. Doesn't say anything about having a trigger. Do you think there should be any limitation? You should have anything you want. You can have a mortar. You can have a mortar. I'll show you. Mortars? Howitzers? Now, machine guns, automatic weapons? I don't know. I don't know what the big deal is. They're the most, if anything, you know what makes them dangerous? They're very imprecise. Most people, even in the battlefield, you don't want to open up them belt fed. No. But there was something in a common law called a freighting. And a freighting was a rule that says you can't walk down the street carrying a battle axe or a battle club. I want a battle axe. It's not really an axe, but it's a battle club. It's this big thing. Remember the Last of the Mohicans? Remember that? That's what I want. That's what I want. I don't want to. We had this guy one time, he had a shillelagh. Ever seen a shillelagh? He was an Irish guy, had a shillelagh behind the bar. I don't know what you're doing. You get a nice battle axe, something that's used basically it's a club with a handle. Oh my. Anything you touch, it just flattens. Okay. At common law, a freighting was the common law tort that prevented you from basically walking down the street carrying something that frightened people. So yes, being a textualist, and even Scalia would agree with this. Yes, there are some. Now, what they are, keep and bear arms, does that mean everything? Well, they didn't say it, and it's not necessarily in the context of a militia because that's what the Heller case said. So I don't, but I think it is not reasonable. I do not want people driving around with some hood-mounted, IED equipped thing. No, that's rational. A grenade, is that arms? Well, it's more. No. Remember, you can be in fact, you could be a Second Amendment zealot, but you have to lose your mind in this. But that is, now, let's talk about this. What can't you say? This is easy. What should the law keep you from saying? Not from thinking, but from saying. Ask yourself that question. That's a very critical question. And that is the question of the ages. You can't say that. Let's say you come up with something and you say, there is no such thing as cancer. Cancer doesn't exist. Cancer is some, deep state plot to control or subjugate the blah, 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 blah. And you say there's no such thing as cancer. And there is cancer. And we all know that. But let's say you say that. And you have a website. And you say there's no such thing as cancer. And you have a YouTube channel. And you say that. And it's wrong. It's wrong. And you also say that what people do think is cancer really isn't. And then if you take if you eat garlic or something, okay, that is misinformation. And that's wrong, okay? Look at Liz. Is she great? That's my girl. Look at Liz. She writes, all right, who forgot to like this video? Let's go. That is great. Thank you, Liz. She's terrific. Let me tell you something. Think about this. You can say anything. Anything. But don't you understand? This is misinformation. Don't you understand? He's full of shit. Pardon my French, but that's it. And that is so American. You have the right to be full. And it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, but what if somebody sees it? So what? What if somebody hears it? So what? What if somebody takes that advice? I don't know. What if somebody reads Lolita by Nabokov and thinks that having sex with some teenager? I don't know. What if somebody reads the Bible and reads about Lot's daughters and has sex with her, gets their father drunk and has sex with him because they think it's the end of the world? It's like, what? What if I read? What if something motivates? No, stop it. We have to take back first thing, take back first. We take back the first. We take back the freedom of speech, whatever you want. Keith Olbermann's a dirtbag, making fun of Aaron Rodgers, laughing at his. Sorry. Ignore him. You can ban him. You can look the other way. You can do whatever you want. I don't know if Elon's allowing banning. Life is tough like that. Life is tough. Yeah, but he said something racist. In the library in New York, they've got Mein Kampf. You can get this on Amazon. What is the matter with you? So what? Read it. That's out there. Remember Anarchist Cookbook, 1971? You can have a book that tells people how to make poisons and bombs. What's the matter with you? This is America. So what? Say it. Anything. What if you use the N-word? Say it. I don't prefer. Well, what about drugs? We got to do something about this drug. Got to do something about fentanyl. We got to do something about fentanyl. Should fentanyl be against the law? It is against the law. Oh, yeah, that's right. But what if we legalize it? It doesn't matter. Nobody cares whether you legalize it or not. They're not buying it in the store. If we have these stupid laws about, well, I think we should have a law about guns. Nobody follows the murder statute. I want to take my country back. I want it to be free. I want it to be I want it to be dangerous, except for kids. Kids, old people, mentally infirm, people who are not able to formulate consent. You shouldn't be able to have sex with somebody who's powerless, in a coma. Remember, did you see that terrible case? Remember the woman who was in a coma? She was pregnant. I mean, come on. Now, that's it. You should be able to do everything, except for kids. And by the way, animals, different story. They can't consent. Short of that, my world is so simple. But let me go back to my question again. Should the law be, or should school be mandatory? I don't know. Why? Why? Let me ask you something. What would happen tomorrow if we said, anybody who doesn't want to be here, get out? Here's what I do. First, we cultivate, we try to find the best people that we have in our society. And we want to make them, we want to take the geniuses out. We say, you're good in math, STEM, STEAM, the whole bit, come on with us. We're going to treat you like we do athletes. We're going to cultivate you. You are going to be our prize. We're going to be the next Terrence Tao, the next Edward Whitten. Have you noticed how Eric Weinstein, have you noticed this? He's been going crazy lately. That's an insider. I don't know if anybody cares about that, but it's kind of like he's going down the road of Tucker. And by the way, side note before I forget, did Tucker settle up with Fox News? Does he still work? Did they settle that? Did they ever finalize that? Not that it matters. Let me go back to what I'm saying. We make a very, very simple thing. Mrs. Johnson, yes, have a seat. Little Timmy here is as dumb as rocks. And you know it, and I know it. And not there's anything wrong with Timmy, but you have never had anybody in your family go to school. You don't care about school. We basically are your babysitter. So here's what we're going to do. We're giving him back. Plus, he's a real pain in the neck, and he's a problem. And he's just taking up space. And it's just not fair. It's not fair to him, and it's not fair to the other students. We have nothing to offer him. He's stupid. Really, really stupid. So we have some maybe some vocational schools, but we're not going to waste our time. We'll try to teach them how to read as much as possible, but we're wasting our time because every time we talk to him, we're not talking to some other kid who's real bright. You got it? I know that's brutal. Tough. Tough. Did you ever try to go out for a sport? Somebody says, I'm sorry, you didn't run. Come on, coach. No, I'm not going to pick you. You're not that good. What? I have a right to be on this team. No, you don't. Well, maybe today you do. Oh my God. You would see more schools closed because fewer people are going there. He's your kid. I don't know what to do with him. Take him. What? Take him. What do you mean take him? Take him. He's yours. We tried and we're wasting our time. What are we gonna do? Just amuse him for 8 or 10 hours a day? No. You just want to give him lunch? We have food programs. If people are hungry, nobody should be hungry. Nobody should starve in our society. Well, here, we'll give him a tip. Come here, Timmy. Take these and you go eat at this place, but go. Because you're not learning anything. You're here to raise hell, and frankly, and I'm sorry to say this, we have to find out there are some people who are just stupid. They just don't have it. Now, people who are talented, musicians, ooh, come here. Oh, I want to cultivate that. That's for culture. Dancers, come on. I'm going to have special. In New York, we have schools like the Jackie Kennedy School for the Performing. Remember that? You remember Fame? That famous school. They have these schools for entertainment arts or whatever it is. That's what we should do. But I'm telling you, for the rest of the other, no. Get rid of political parties. They mean nothing to me. And if you have to pick a name, and I hate to say this, I don't like these people, but the closest thing that makes kind of sort of the most sense is, and this kills me to say this, libertarian. That's the closest thing to anything I've ever seen that makes sense. Absolutely. Freedom is a bitch. It's the worst. It really is. And we've never had it before. Never. Does that make sense to you? Are you feeling good tonight, or have I hurt? Have I hurt anybody's feelings? I know this isn't Larry Kudlow. Bless his heart. He's always talking about that Larry Kudlow stuff. And that's fine. I'm not Larry Kudlow. I don't want to be Larry Kudlow. My world is completely different. I believe in a brutality. And by the way, how would you handle our friend Mr. Putin? What would you do? What would you do? If I'm the president, simple. President Putin, yes. Let me get this straight. Your beef is with this border, right? Yeah. Okay. And you're saying that NATO is prompting and goading, saying that, come on, Ukraine, be a member of NATO. And NATO and Ukraine's on your border? Yeah. Seems reasonable to me, but it's none of our concern. That's a border thing. That's his beef. We did the same thing in 1962 with the Russians. It's okay with me. What? But NATO, don't look to us. If you have any kind of skirmish, we're not going in there. Screw here. Give me that NATO agreement. Tear it up. If you want to do that, and by the way, Victoria Newland, you want to go there, you got your fat ass, and you go there, and you get there, and you get Ta-da! Sorry about that. Sorry, I just saw the mute thing. As I was saying, I don't know if you heard me. I'd go meet Putin. I'd sit down and say, Vlad, have a seat. Please, if I can possibly, I don't want to repeat myself, but I'm going to say, tell me what your problem is. Your problem? NATO, Ukraine. I don't blame you. We're out of there. What we have to do with NATO, I have no idea. That's where Trump was 100%. NATO is a vestige. NATO is this is Russophobic nonsense. That's not our concern. Sorry. Kim Jong-un, sit down with him. What's your beef? Tell me. What's everybody's beef? Have you ever heard Xi Jinping talk about the Uyghurs? Remember this. Whenever they say Xi Jinping is a maniacal overlord, oh, nobody ever thinks of themselves. Listen to what they have to say. I'm not saying it's right, but listen to what they say about how they believe that the Uyghurs are basically threatening them as Muslim radicals. That's all I want to say. I'm a realist. I don't fit into this stuff. I don't want to sit around and talk about this. I want a better world. I want brutal realities. I'm a realist. It's all I care about. I want reality. And by the way, dear friends, I'm going to talk to you about, before I forget, our dear friends at MyPillow. MyPillow. Have you seen what they've got to offer? Let me just say something right now. Have you seen their MyPillow 2.0 Queen and King? Look at this. The original My Slippers exclusive flash sale. Remember that joke where the old man in a nursing home, he walks around with his gown and he says, super sex. He goes up to another woman, super sex, exposing herself. And then one goes to the third woman and says, super sex. She says, I'll have the soup. Anyway, 6-piece towel sets. The biggest bed sheet sale ever. Giza sheet sets as low as $29.98. Overstock sale up to 80% off. Look at this. Did you see this? Go to mypillow.com, promo code Lionel, and see for yourself. And help that big, lovable lug. Love that guy, Mike Lindell. God bless him. You got that? Okay. So let me thank you, wonderful folks. Thank you so much. Barry Taylor, R. Heath. Thank you so much. Ramona. Eduardo Camilo. Muchísimas gracias. Barry Taylor, thank you. Ramona, again, thank you. Bull Trader, thank you as well. So anyway, I hope everybody has a great and a glorious night. Also, please do me a wonderful favor. Please promise you will follow Mrs. L right now. Right now, Lynn's Warriors on X or Twitter at Lynn's_Warriors or at YouTube at Lynn's Warriors. Do me a favor and do that too. Okay? All right, dear friends. Thank you so much for being a part of this. You have made my day. You are so terrific. You're the reason God made Oklahoma. Until tomorrow, 8 a.m., don't forget, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you.